to Love Talks. I am Eva Montibello and I am your host. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for watching our first episode. During Love Talks, we will be discussing the art and science of speaking with love to create the life you've always dreamed of. I know, it sounds like one of those crazy, airy-fairy ideas, but you know what? You're probably asking yourself, why? Why are we here? Why is she doing this? Why would you even want to do that? When you look at, your life, I think all of us want more of something, whether we want more love or a more profitable business, more harmony in our family life, or having more friends in our friend circles. We could all use some help with communications and the area of communications. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So like I said, my name is Eva Montibello. I'm a Haverhill resident, and I have a master's degree in communications. And I have been looking at communications and watching and listening for over 30 years at this point. Watching all kinds of communications, from the successful ones to the breakdowns, to the ones that have people shouting at each other, and then to the ones that have people have the experience of being defeated or leaving and going away. You sometimes will hear family members that are like, oh yeah, I haven't talked to my dad in 30 years. We want to look at those types of communications and look at seeing if we can have one or both of those people be empowered and get up and over that breakup in whatever the relationship is. When you think about the bad side of communications, it often has to do with one thing or the other. It's like fighting, the clash, or just completely going away. The other side of communication is the celebrations of love and joy. Where do we see these? We often see them on Facebook and social media. The question is how do we create more joy through our words? When you see someone that is newly engaged, you see the happy couple and the cake and the ring, or you see a new baby. I was a new mother at one point, and I literally put a new picture up every single day. That's when joy is most apparent. When you have, a business, when you have a business success, when you have a new office, when you have something new and exciting in your business, it shows up on Facebook, whether it be on your business page or on your personal page. So really looking at all of those celebrations and how to empower those celebrations even more. As a marketing and branding person that really looks at this like all across life and in people's businesses, one of the things I hear a lot for people that are starting new businesses are, oh, I'm not the expert yet, or, oh, I'm really, really humble. And what I say to them is, don't start your business then, because one of the things that you really have to do when you start your business, or you want to have a breakthrough type of result, and I think a breakthrough result in business is really having your business thrive. One of the things that I say is you have to learn how to brag about yourself. You have to learn how to extend joy and how to extend your expertise. And you may not have a lot of expertise in something. You may have a lot of passion around educating people, and you're still in the education process yourself. That's totally fine. Everybody's at different levels of development, and say that you're in the mid-level of something, there's a whole, like half the society that you can teach something to, and then half the society that can teach something to you. So there is a world where opportunity is abundant, and that is your opportunity. One of the things that I can guarantee you is that your word, what you speak and what you say and what you think, creates your world. I think sometimes we see people that are complainers in life. They're, the glass is always half empty and nothing ever goes right for me. And what happens? The glass is always half empty and nothing ever goes right for them. Because what their thoughts and then what comes out of their mouth is actually what is created. If you are someone that is super happy and really joyful, and you have good practices in your life, like you speak with love, and you have people that surround you that speak with love to you, having a gratitude journal in the morning, all kinds of practices really, really, really can help set your world up for a thriving, celebratory, successful, profitable, loving world. So the world is your oyster if you know how to think and you know how to speak it. So let's touch upon, I feel like these are like the two big ones in the things that in communications that don't work. So let's talk about the first one, withholding. Do you know someone that withholds themselves when you get into a fight or you say something a little bit funny? So, I have a friend, and every now and then I'll say something like, oh my goodness, you look great, and whatever. And I will push her to go to another networking meeting or to do another Facebook post. And I'm trying to be helpful, and she feels pressured, and she takes herself away. Doesn't respond to my texts, doesn't respond to my messages. She goes into hideout mode because she's so confronted with trying to build her business. So that's one way to be. Withholding on the other side, you see it in relationships a lot too. So, the boyfriend gets mad at the girlfriend, or the girlfriend gets mad at the boyfriend, and one of them just takes themselves away. They storm out of the house and they walk away, or they stop talking and they have one-word answers. That's withholding. That's actually a form of like verbal abuse, kind of on the opposite side of it, where you are not fully empowered and they are not fully empowered, and you're trying to dominate the conversation. The other side of it is brutal honesty. Everybody has someone in their life that's like brutally honest. And I always think of brutal honesty. It's called brutal honesty for a reason, because it's just brutal and torturous and terrible. I have someone in my life that I care for a lot that says to me sometimes, oh, you're so fat, you're getting fat. And for a long time I would react. I would say, oh my goodness, you don't love me and you're so mean to me and all of these things. We're gonna learn about a tool in a little while called listening for the gold. Like, what is behind that conversation that you can actually use to empower you? So we'll touch upon that in a little bit. Another thing that we're gonna learn about is the power of authenticity. Is how do you be authentic with someone so that you really can be fully self-expressed and really have a different type of relationship with someone? I have a funny story with, there's this, person that I see, this man I see around town that I think is cute, and I somehow always see him when I'm on a date with someone else. So by chance, I happen to be sitting next to him at a restaurant, and I just kind of told one of myself, I said, gosh, I think you're adorable, and I always see you when I'm on a date, and gosh, I think you're really great. And it was slightly embarrassing at the moment to say, but I was like, whoa, I feel like I had a huge weight off my chest. Over the Christmas holiday, I had a client, and we were sitting down at our last meeting of the year, and it was just so present for me to tell him that I loved him, and I said that, and I said, you know what, I really appreciate your business, and I just love you as a person. I love how you run your business, and I think you're really, really extraordinary, and I feel like I'm so lucky to get to work with you. That's authenticity. That's like telling the truth about someone and yourself and having a whole new relationship. So authenticity is like kind of a funny one, because you have to tell one on yourself, or you have to swing out and be vulnerable and open up your heart and your mind and everything and trust that the other person's going to take good care of it. The next thing we're going to learn about, which is really cool, is the power of placement. So, when you think about a decorator, everything is placed in a certain way. When you think about a car, everything is architected and engineered in a very specific way. And that's how you know that you're going to have a good quality car. Communications is the same way. So where you place a certain communication can either make or break or have someone left with a particular type of experience. So let me give you a really good example of this. So if you were to go out on a first date and someone were to say, oh, will you marry me? Not quite the right time or place to do it. So that's like a whole placement situation. But I often see it at networking meetings in business. People do it all the time. They're like, hey, I'm just gonna use my own business because I don't wanna focus on anyone else. But say I were to go up to someone and say, hey, I'm a marketing person, do you need any marketing? And you don't even know the person's name, you don't know what their business is, you don't know what their challenges are, you don't know what their goals are. It's like asking someone to marry them on the first date. It's not the right place. So really, one of the things about placement is, what is the process? What's the whole design process of having communications that are powerful and that land for the other person? Or if they don't land, how do you back up and figure out how to get a communication to land so you can go back into moving the conversation forward? And then, this is like a really good one for dating, but it's really applicable everywhere. But the power of alignment is making sure you know where anyone that comes into your life, what bucket of a relationship you're going to put them into. You have to think about yourself as someone that has, like the business person, and then the woman who wants to be married, and then, the advocate that deals with PTSD and all survivors, and then the mom, and then the daughter. So you have all of these different buckets. And you really want to look at, when someone comes into your life, what bucket do you want to put them in? Do you want to put them in the friend bucket? When you look at dating, sometimes you go on a first date with someone you've never met. And in like usually the first 5-10 minutes, you know what bucket you want them to be in. Or you're still kind of feeling it out. But some people you're immediately like, definitely a friend bucket. And then some people you're like, definitely not in any bucket at all, which is actually an important thing to notice. And then there are some people that you have really great chemistry with, and they're really, really bright in your kind of same way. And they have the similar belief systems, and that's someone that you want to take a little bit more time with and see, oh my gosh, could this be for the rest of my life? Could this be for a year? So really sorting out like what bucket do people want to go into. Now we're going to go back to the power of listening for the gold. Remember how I told you the example about that person in my life that calls me fat? So when you listen for the gold, you really have to not react and respond. So it's really, you're operating at a higher level of communication. This is like grad school communications. So how do you listen for the gold inside of any communication? When you look at it, and when I looked at it for myself, when that communication came out, oh, you're fat, what I listened from and what I listened for was what's under that. And the person that, I was listening to was like, I'm more committed to you being beautiful all the time, and then now I respond with, thank you, I totally get it. I definitely have gained a few pounds. It's my winter weight or whatever, and I'm truthful about it, because sometimes people are judgy like that, but they really do have like a bigger commitment to you underneath. So there is a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. God planned it very specifically that way. And really looking at, how does that really empower people? Are the conversations that you're having empowering people every step of the way in their life and your life? We're going to discuss how to create power for yourself and others when someone's having a breakdown or a crisis. You ever walk into a situation and 2 people are fighting, or you're walking into a situation and someone is shut down, or they're crying, or they're just stuck in some way, shape, or form. It's one of those things where you have an opportunity to make a difference in someone else's life. And here's the trick about having a dream life. If you want to have a dream life, it's up to you to surround yourself by people that want to have dream lives, or at least talk them into it, and then help them all accomplish their dream lives too. And it's funny because communication is everything. It's like the only thing. So whether you want more in life, out of work or out of love or in the relationship or whatever, there's a whole world to tap into. Now I want to get into a couple other things. So we're going to be having some really, really amazing guests on our show. We are going to have people that have had horrendous first date stories that are hilarious. We're going to look at different types of dating styles. Are you attached? Are you secure? Are you avoidant? Are you anxious? What kind of dater are you? Just knowing that gives you tons of power. Are you going to, what are your love languages? How do you interact with people because of your love languages? There are 5 different love languages. I have one person in my life and their love language is gifts. And they could be completely mad at me. And if I show up with a bunch of flowers or a box of candy, instantly I win them back over. When you think of other people, interestingly enough, men often are physical touch. So men want to be hugging and kissing you. If you're a woman, in between like a romantic couple. Men, I would say probably 7 out of 10 times will have physical touch in their top 2. So knowing what someone else's love language is gives you power to have a better relationship with them and also to have influence on them. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. The other thing is once you start talking about their love languages, guess what they're going to start wanting to talk about? Your love language. So then you can also communicate, hey, these are my love languages and these are the things that I like. It opens up a whole new world to how to serve each other and how to really celebrate what everybody's preferences are. So that's really, really cool. The next thing we're going to look at is business communications, and how do you break into a conversation? How do you create a warm lead for a group that you don't know, but really break in and create a warm lead so you can, when you do show up to an event that you don't know anybody, that you actually feel like you know someone. And then the third area that we're going to really look at is people that are dealing with the trauma and the crisis. Having worked in the advocacy world, a lot with survivors of abuse or veterans that are dealing with PTSD or CPTSD, it's up to all of us to actually help heal everybody that needs a little bit of healing. Hopefully they want it. If they don't, obviously you don't help them. But, being someone who can actually help other people heal. So I'm really excited about our next show. That's what we're going to be talking about in the next segment. If you want to learn more information about the business aspect of communications, you can go visit Alpha E Consulting. The show is sponsored by Alpha E Consulting today. If you're interested in learning more about love and relationships and really looking at your own personal wellness before you put yourself into a romantic relationship, you can go look at Be Delicious Dating. And then if you're someone that is surviving trauma, or you love someone that has survived trauma, then go to Nurture Central. All Facebook pages, they're all online. You can check them out at any time. And come back, join us for another episode. We're gonna have tons and tons of fun with our guest hosts. And we're gonna do some learning, and we're gonna have some practices put into our lives where we can actually create the life of our dreams, build a network where we have friends and family and business people that all are committed to the life of their dreams, and we're all gonna get there together. So thank you so much for joining me for the first episode of Love Talks. My name is Eva Montibello, and I will see you in the next segment.